talking to me? You talking to me, Tannen? Well, why wouldn't you? I'm the only one here. Go ahead. Make my day. Okay, just kidding. That was one of my favorite scenes in Back to the Future, which is a Western, which is like one of the best movies. But I'm here to talk to you today about one of the my favorite Western movies, and those all incorporate Kevin Costner, which I'm saying that the best Western movies are the ones where he's in them. So besides that, Kevin Costner's movies are one of the best because of the actor, because it has good morals, and also because of the production of the producer. And I'm going to talk to you about that today. So the first thing, the actor, Kevin Costner. Enough said. He's a handsome man, and even though he's 59 now, he still has this handsome appeal about him back when he was doing his movies in the early 70s, or no, late 70s, I'm sorry. He's just a very handsome man. I think he is. And even though I'm pretty sure like 50% of us like base our decisions on going to go see a movie by like the actor or actress who's in the movie, and for me, Kevin Costner does the job. So besides his good looks, he's also like a very good actor because I think he has like this really good simplicity about his character, about the way he acts. He just has this kind of like relaxed way about him that like makes you like just fall in love with him, and if you're a guy, well, I don't know. So there's he just has really good methods of acting, and even though he, especially in the movie when he plays in The Bodyguard, even though he's like a security guard and like he has to be all tough and everything, he still has this side to him which is like a very calm person. And the three movies that like I love that are my favorite Western movies is Dances with Wolves, Wyatt Earp, and Open Range, that he comes out in all three of those movies. So besides him coming out in those three movies, the reason why all three of them are good movies is because of the good morals of the movie. And sometimes I go in to watch movies and sometimes I don't even know what the moral is or like what the movie's trying to tell me. And one of the things I like about his movies is that it touches your soul, and like it gives you a good aspect of like what to feel and like what you should learn from that movie. For example, in Dances with Wolves, John Dunbar, he's like off, and he's a military officer, and he's off in his post out in the wide open, and he comes across Indians. And he is told all these like horrible things, that they're beasts, they're savages and all that. And as time passes by, as he's out there alone, he meets them, he encounters them. And slowly throughout the movie, he realizes that these people, they're good people. They have values. And in the end of the movie, spoiler alert, I'm sorry, he gives up his own position as a officer for his values, for values that he learns. He lets go of that authority to follow his own values, and I think that's a really good lesson in that movie. The second example in Wyatt Earp, he's an officer along with his brothers in like the law. And even though he's an officer, a man of the law, as well as his brothers, they have this unity between them. They're brothers. They always stick together. And one of the scenes that I like in Wyatt Earp is when the Earp wives, because they're all married except the main character Wyatt, they call him into like a kind of like a secret meeting to meet with him to try and convince him to convince his brothers to let them stay in that town because they want to settle down and set roots. And all he has to say is, "You called me here without my brothers?" And the simplicity of that scene just says it all, that he has such respect and loyalty for his brothers. And after that, he just walks away without another word. So that's one of my favorite parts in that scene too. And a third example would be in Open Range, when Charlie is with Boss, his his three friends, Boss, Bo, and Button. And the whole plot is about basically taking revenge on what cruelty other people did to his friends. One of them got shot and the other one got killed. So him and his friend Boss, they just go throughout the movie trying to take that respect that belongs to them and the justice that take back justice for what they did to their friends. So those are really good morals in the story, and I think they play out really well. And a third point too why they're such great movies is because of the producer. None other than Kevin Costner has either produced or directed those three movies. And I think not only does being an actor make a good movie, but also the way a movie is produced. And I just love the way he produces these movies because each movie has this simplicity and like detail in like a Western movie, which I think is one of like the best qualities you could ever have. Like just getting a view of the prairie, of the outfield, the way they get off of their horse, or they're just standing there. Even though half of the time these movies someone's getting killed or getting shot, there's still a simplicity in these movies that just relax you and calm you down. And I think that's a very important quality in having a really good Western movie is the actor, the good morals, and the simplicity and the detail into making like a really good Western movie. So I hope you guys watch them. They're really good movies. They also have like romance in them aside, but yeah.
Well, I like the quotes that you're using for your attention device. In Back to the Future 3, of course, he's using quotes from all kinds of other movies that he is quoting in that. So that's a little bit confusing, but you've attempted to do something, take a Western-themed movie, use it as your attention device there, and I appreciated that. You've got a very clear statement of what your point of view is and the idea that you're trying to get across. I thought that worked well also. It was a little unclear when you say talk about acting, producing. Ultimately, your structure is really the three movies that you're talking about. So I think you should probably make that the work as your preview instead of the other, which seems just a little bit confusing. You could layer those things in other places. At first, I was worried that it was just going to be, you were going to fawn over the movies, which is great. That's okay. It's good to be a fan. But I thought that you also tried, as you were talking about each of the movies, to find a theme that you thought was important, a little bit of the story to describe, and something particular about the actor that you thought that the actor brought to the movie. And the first two things I think you did a real good job on. The third one, maybe you could use a little bit more detail, maybe a particular scene. The one scene where you talked about in Wyatt Earp, where he has the interaction with the wives of his brothers, I thought that was a pretty good illustration of the point that you were talking about. So, it's basically a fan presentation. Look, I'm a fan of Kevin Costner. I like Western movies, and he's in 3 Western movies that I really think are, the top of the list. And you sell that. That's pretty reasonable. You're having fun. It's a speech to kind of entertain. You're telling stories about that. So that works well. Presentation issues. Your feet are a little bit nervous. The anxiety is coming out there. You have a tendency to swing around a little bit. You never look like you are settled into a position to give a speech. And you stay back a ways from us. All these people over here, they wouldn't mind if you came over and talked to them a little bit. And us over here, step forward a couple of steps. We won't bite. Not hard anyway. So you just look like that's uncomfortable. All my discomfort is in my body and standing back and shifting around and those kinds of things. As I'm listening to you, I think you do a really nice job. Your voice is loud and clear. You use a lot of variety. There's enthusiasm when you're talking about the subject, which everybody's going to appreciate listening to because it's going to be a lot more interesting because you're enthusiastic about the subject there. There are a couple of places where there are just some, I'm not an English teacher, so it's not my job, on this, little grammatical errors, that sort of thing where we got the wrong tense of a word or there's an awkward transition. There ought to be a comma, and it's instead feels like it's a semicolon. I don't know how to explain it. It sounded a little bit awkward sometimes, the phraseology that you're using. But those are minor kinds of things. Just you'll have to listen back. I think you'll be able to pick out a couple of those. Oh, that's not the way that's supposed to sound. You'll know those kinds of things. I didn't have time to write all of those things down. There weren't a lot of them. Maybe 3 or 4 places where it just sounded like, that sentence needed to be a little bit more polished. Like I said, and I thought that the pace went along pretty well. All the anxiety that I mentioned before, that's all in your body movement, your feet. That's where that's going on. And I appreciated your attempting to do something fun with the subject. So that's fine. Don't worry about that.